What if humans were immortal in Frieren's world? The beautiful tragedy would vanish. Frieren's story draws its emotional power from a simple, heartbreaking reality: she will outlive everyone she cares about. Her journey is about learning to value fleeting human connections despite, or perhaps because of, their temporary nature. No more goodbyes, no more watching friends age and die, no more solitary journeys through landscapes filled with memories of the departed. But immortal humans would create an entirely different set of problems that might make Frieren's world a nightmare. If humans never died, this engine of renewal would grind to a halt. But what if Himmel, Heiter, and Eisen could live forever alongside her? At first glance, this seems like the perfect solution. The end of growth and renewal. Instead, he's accumulated centuries of habits, prejudices, and ways of thinking that have calcified into rigid patterns. The very qualities that made him heroic, his fresh optimism, his willingness to risk everything for others, might erode under the weight of endless experience. Human societies thrive on generational change. New ideas challenge old ones, fresh perspectives reshape traditions, and the natural cycle of learning and teaching drives progress. If humans were equally immortal, they would face the same psychological challenges, but without the elven emotional constitution to handle them. Every embarrassment, every loss, every moment of pain would remain as vivid as the day it happened. The natural healing that comes with time and the fading of memory would be replaced by an ever-growing catalog of suffering. The same people would hold power forever, making the same decisions based on centuries-old assumptions. Innovation would slow, then stop entirely. Imagine Himmel still alive after 1,000 years, but no longer the idealistic hero who inspired a generation. The knowledge that our time is limited creates urgency, to love deeply, to pursue our dreams, to make our mark on the world. Remove that deadline, and motivation might evaporate. Without new generations bringing change, society would stagnate. The population catastrophe, but by immortal humans trapped in cycles of digital narcosis, unable to break free from comfort zones they've had centuries to perfect. Would Heiter maintain his faith without the approaching horizon of death? The experiences that mystics and artists describe as touching eternity gain their power partly from their contrast with ordinary existence. The very experiences that make life worth living might become mundane through endless repetition. Would Eisen continue crafting if he could perfect his skills over millennia without any pressing need to create? Frieren's world would become populated entirely by adults who remember what it was like to be young but can never experience renewal through children. But heroes often emerge from urgency, the knowledge that action must be taken now, while there's still time. Problems that seem pressing to mortals might be casually postponed for decades or centuries. The Demon King could wait. After all, everyone has forever to deal with him eventually. The wonder and innocence that new generations bring would be lost forever. If humans never died but could still reproduce, the world would face an impossible choice: either allow unlimited population growth until resources collapse entirely, or ban reproduction to prevent catastrophe. The second option would mean the end of childhood, the end of parenthood, the end of families as we know them. Why face the challenges of real relationships when virtual experiences could provide easier, more controllable pleasures? It would become a cautionary tale about the importance of endings, the beauty of impermanence, and the wisdom hidden in our mortal limitations. The knowledge that our time is limited creates the very qualities we treasure most: urgency, passion, the drive to connect deeply with others, the motivation to grow and change. Why pursue difficult goals when simple digital stimulation could provide instant gratification? She would witness Himmel's heroic nature gradually erode, Heiter's faith become mechanical routine, and Eisen's craftsmanship turn into compulsive repetition. The burden of perfect memory. Frieren already struggles with emotional detachment, partly because her long lifespan makes human connections feel temporary and insignificant. After centuries of accumulating memories, trauma, and experiences, immortal humans might develop crippling psychological problems. The loss of meaning and purpose. Much of what gives human life meaning comes from its scarcity. Would Himmel still feel compelled to help villages if he knew he had infinite time to do good deeds later? The heroic journey that brought Frieren's party together might never have happened in a world where humans could simply postpone their adventures indefinitely. Digital addiction across centuries. In our modern world, we already struggle with technology addiction, endless scrolling, constant stimulation, fractured attention spans. Imagine these problems compounded across centuries of existence. Immortal humans might lose themselves in increasingly sophisticated forms of entertainment and distraction. Frieren might find herself surrounded not by mortal friends who burn brightly and briefly, the death of wonder. Perhaps most tragically, immortal humans might lose their capacity for wonder and transcendence. If every sunset leads to infinite more sunsets, if every moment of beauty is followed by countless others, would any of them feel special? A world without heroes. Frieren's companions are heroic partly because they choose to dedicate their brief lives to something greater than themselves. In a world of immortal humans, that urgency would disappear. The very concept of heroism might fade away, replaced by an endless, comfortable procrastination. The real horror of eternity. Frieren's story becomes not about learning to cherish brief connections, but about watching immortal companions slowly lose their humanity over centuries. Instead of grieving for friends who lived full, meaningful lives before passing away, she would face the horror of watching them become hollow shells of their former selves, still physically present but spiritually diminished by the weight of endless existence. The wisdom of mortality. Frieren's journey teaches us that mortality isn't humanity's greatest weakness, it might be its greatest strength. If humans lived forever, Frieren's world wouldn't become a paradise. Sometimes, the greatest gift isn't more time, it's making the most of the time we have.